If you're looking to bridge your funds over to the Linea network, there are quite a few options for you to consider. So today I'll be going through some of them and I'll be sharing with you the ones that I'm using that could also help me to qualify for that bridge's airdrop. The very first option that you can consider would be Linea's official bridge, but the only problem is that it only allows you to bridge between the Ethereum mainnet and Linea. The gas fees are extremely high on the Ethereum mainnet, and if you do want to perform a transaction, it costs about $3 in Ethereum to perform one of these transactions. However, as we have seen from the Arbitrum airdrop, if you have bridged funds over using the official bridge, this could increase the token allocation in the airdrop itself. So if you have the funds to spare, then I would recommend that you perform this transaction at least once so as to fulfill this requirement of interacting with the bridge smart contract. But if you are intending to perform quite a few bridging transactions, then I would suggest not to use the official bridge because the gas fees are just way too high. There are other bridges like XY Finance where you're able to bridge funds from all of these different networks, including Polygon, Arbitrum, the BNB Smart Chain and Optimism into the Linea network. So right now you're only able to bridge Ethereum to this network, and I personally always use the Polygon network to bridge my funds over, as the gas fees are much lower compared to other networks like Arbitrum, Optimism, or even the BNB Smart Chain. This bridging fee here costs roughly about $2 USD in Ethereum, so it is slightly cheaper compared to the Linea bridge. And I do like XY Finance because it gives you a lot of options on where you can bridge your funds over to Linea. Symbiosis is also another possible bridge that you can use, and it also has quite a lot of different options, including Arbitrum Nova and the Polygon ZKVM. And the fees are slightly cheaper, where it costs about $1.14. So in terms of the bridging fee, I would say that Symbiosis is one of the cheaper ones, but the problem is that they have already launched their token. So if you're looking to get one of the bridging airdrops, then this may not be the best option for you. Seller C Bridge is another option that you can consider, but in terms of the tokens that you can use to bridge over, it's actually quite limited. Where in the case of Symbiosis, I'm able to bridge all of these different tokens on the Polygon network, but for Seller, I'm only limited to the Matic token. So the bridge fee is also not too expensive. In terms of the flexibility, is definitely lower compared to both Symbiosis and XY Finance. So Rhino Finance is also another one that's pretty interesting, where you can deposit different assets into the platform, and then after that you can use a bridge to send your funds over to any of these networks, including Linea. The fees are slightly more expensive, where it costs about $2.50 in Ethereum. Again, that's something that you may want to consider. And Rhino Finance already has its own token, so I also wouldn't really want to suggest this. Another issue that I also have is that I'm unable to deposit Ethereum on the Polygon network to Rhino Finance, so I have to use another network like Optimism or Arbitrum, where the gas fees are slightly higher, and that's something that I don't really want to do. Right now it seems to be the airdrop season, and there are so many projects out there that could potentially release their new token. If you're finding it hard to keep track of all of these different airdrops, I created a Notion page where I've listed down all of the different networks and projects that I'm looking to farm for an airdrop. This will include both video and text guides that will show you all of the steps that I've performed to potentially qualify for these airdrops. If you want to gain access to this site, all you need to do is to subscribe to my Substack newsletter, which I also left the link in the description below, and the link to this Notion page will be sent to you in your welcome email. The Bridge is one of those projects that have not launched a token yet, so you can consider using this platform to bridge your funds over. In terms of the available networks, it is slightly limited, but it does have most of the highly used networks except for Optimism, which is surprisingly not available. So the protocol fee is roughly about 0.5 Matic, and in general, this is the expected fees that you'll be paying, which is quite affordable. So definitely this is one of the options that you can consider when you are bridging your funds over to the Linea network. LayerSwap is also another platform that does not have a token yet. It is heavily rumored that they could be doing airdrop, so performing more transactions on this bridge could help you to qualify for a higher allocation of the token. So right now, if you want to bridge your funds over to Linea, the only way that you can do so is by bridging Ethereum on all of the different networks over to Linea. The fees cost roughly about 190 USD worth of Ethereum, so it's not too expensive, but the problem is that your funds may take quite a while before they arrive on the Linea network, and that's actually something that I've experienced with when I bridge my funds using LayerSwap. So the last bridge, which is personally my favorite bridge, is Orbital Finance, and I would say that it is one of the most flexible bridges where you can bridge between any layer 2, even including the likes of even ZK Sync Lite, Polygon ZKVM and Arbitrum Nova. and then you can send your funds over to the Linea mainnet. The only downside is that you can only bridge the Ethereum token to Linea, which is similar to layer swap. Orbital Finance is one of the bridges that are highly rumored to be doing an airdrop. And you'll be assigned some roles in their guild depending on the number of transactions that you have performed on the bridge. These roles could then determine how much of the Orbital Finance token you'll be receiving. The fee is slightly similar to layer swap, where it costs around 2 USD worth of Ethereum to perform each transaction, which is pretty okay and still cheaper compared to using the official Linea bridge. And what I really like about Orbital Finance is that the gas fees that you pay are extremely low, especially on the Polygon network, and it cost me almost 0 cents just to perform this one transaction, apart from the actual bridging fee that you need to pay. And if you see this video before the 4th of August, you can participate in this Galaxy campaign, where so long as you bridge any amount of Ethereum to the Linea network, you'll be able to get certain loyalty points, which again could be very useful if Orbital Finance does conduct an airdrop. I would suggest that you try to get at least the pilot role for Orbital Finance, and this is done by performing at least 10 different bridging transactions. And once you have achieved this role, then you can consider using either layer swap or the bridge to continue bridging your funds over to the Linea network. Since the Linea mainnet has just launched, there's lots of activities to be done on the network, but I'm still a bit cautious because the gas fees are actually quite high right now. So hopefully they'll come down with more users. And in the coming weeks, I'll drop a airdrop guide on some of the tasks that you can perform on the Linea mainnet that could possibly help you to qualify for an airdrop. But in the meantime, you can also try out this airdrop here that does not require you to use any real life funds.